Hello? This is Crown Master Kim Boum. How to have your products sell themselves, even without actively selling. When I started the Atomy business, I analyzed it and thought, this is something I can really succeed at. And that's how I began this business. The company is great, the products are great, the marketing is great, everything is good. But because of my personality, I'm really not the type to sell things or ask favors from others. So I wonder, if I have to sell these products, what am I going to do? That was my concern. To get straight to the point, even if I can't sell products or ask favors from others, I can still succeed. As for how I overcame this, I started by changing the way I think. In the end, as I used Atomy products, I realized that with this level of quality at this price, I'm not just selling something to someone, I'm actually helping them and possibly changing their life. I kept reinforcing this idea to myself. As I repeated it over and over, I found myself able to talk to anyone about it. The chairman mentioned something like this, didn't he? When it comes to selling products, don't sell them to others, just sell them to yourself. Ultimately, if you're truly moved by the product, even someone who can't sell can succeed in this business. So rather than focusing on sales, I focus more on understanding the value of the product. Someone who was truly moved by Boum just can't help but talk about it. It's not about selling this, it's more like, if you're really struggling, just take this. That's not selling, is it? It's possible because you've encountered a product so impressive that it sells itself, even if you don't actively try to sell it. In my case, I'm one of those people who was really impressed by the sunscreen. I used to work overseas for a long time, and since I really love golf, sunscreen is a must for me. So after trying all sorts of different ones, I kept using the sunscreen that came out from there. So after I started the Atomy business, I asked one of our female employees to get me a sunscreen and she bought one for me. I used it without even knowing the price and it was so good. It was exactly the same one I had been using. I asked, how much is this? She said it was 7,651. This is 7,651, not 76,501. And she said, yes, that's right. So I checked the amount and it was 60 milliliters. The one I had been using was 50 milliliters. But after trying it, I found it really good. So I did some research and found out that Colmar, the company that manufactures Atomy's cosmetics, is actually a global company. It's a global company with 13 factories in 9 countries around the world. And it's also made in a factory in Europe. So if the same product made by the same company is sold elsewhere, it's 90,001. But if Atomy sells it, it's only 7,650. That really impressed me, to be honest. And the more I looked into other things, the more I studied, the more I realized it was all true. As you can see, most of the people who have succeeded with Atomy are absolutely crazy about the product. After being impressed by Boum and the cosmetics, I started switching all my other products as well. And as I changed over from the supermarket, I naturally came to understand the business. Switching from the supermarket and increasing the number of products that truly impress you, that is the speed of your business. But just doing that isn't enough. Like I mentioned earlier, since I'm not good at selling, what I realized was that if someone who's better at selling than me joins under me, it's the same as if I'm selling myself. That person needs to truly understand Atomy, be moved by it, and then recruit many people who can sell to them. This was my way of not having to sell myself. The key to recruiting well is to let go of your own forcefulness. You shouldn't go into a meeting thinking, I have to get this person to sign up as a member no matter what. Or, I have to sell at least one product to this person. You need to let go of that mindset. That's the only way recruiting will work. Because if you meet someone with that kind of intention, they'll feel pressured and immediately put up their guard. And even if you suggest, let's go check it out, it's natural for them not to go. And if you tell them to try the product, they'll refuse. Even if they try, they'll say it's not good. So, you need to relax and just share your own story. For example, when I look at this person, they seem really tired. Try taking Boum. But instead of saying that, I'd say, I stayed up all night working and I only slept 2 hours yesterday. If it weren't for Boum, I would have collapsed. That's how you should talk about it. You're sharing your own experience. So if they get curious and ask, then you can tell them. And later, when you invite them and they sign up for membership, you can say, this is a free membership, just sign up. And if you sign up and use it, it'll be helpful for you. Now, most people will say yes, but of course there will be some who don't. That's when you need to handle it well. You should respond like, oh, it's okay if you don't want to. Hey, how can you do that when we have this kind of relationship? You shouldn't say things like that. But you do need to say these as your final comment. I'm going to stick with this business until the end. So if you ever become interested in Atomy or want to register as a member, make sure you do it through me. You absolutely have to say this part. But after a few times, when they see how hard you're working, there will definitely be a lot more people who ask you to help them sign up as members. So don't try to close the deal all at once, right there. Just talk about it casually, leave them with a sense of pride about what you do, and that's enough. Next, to wrap up the topic of how products can sell themselves, even if you don't actively sell them, the key is ultimately education. If someone repeatedly comes to believe that buying the product is beneficial for them, and that they can even make money from it, then no matter how much you tell them not to buy it, they'll end up buying it anyway. And they'll naturally keep talking about it to others as well. So even if I don't sell it myself, that person will keep buying and spreading the product. In the end, it all comes down to education. But just because you try to force education doesn't mean it actually happens. The way you educate people is by inviting them. The first method of inviting is to invite them in advance. Now, people who invite incorrectly will ask something like, hey, do you want to come on such and such date? Just 2 days before the event. That's what they do. But you shouldn't do that. You need to get the commitment about a month in advance. But even more importantly, after you get that commitment, you shouldn't just assume they'll actually show up. So, when you make the appointment, you need to do it with the expectation that there's a high chance they might say they can't make it later. And then, a few days before, you should contact them in advance and remind them, hey, you're coming on such and such day, right? And tell them that the tickets are ready, so they need to come. That's how you should talk to them. Even so, if something urgent comes up for that person, they still won't come. You have to understand that. But where people often fail is when they say, we've already made plans 2 or 3 times, so you absolutely have to come. You shouldn't approach it like that. So what should you do well in that situation? Oh, really? How about next month on such and such day? Would that work for you? You need to respond like that right away. And even then, you have to keep in mind that the person might still not come. If you repeat this about 3 times, the chances of them actually coming are pretty high. You need to be careful not to get your hopes up too much and try to make it happen all at once when inviting someone. And you have to do it repeatedly. You also need to do it in advance. And when that person declines, you should immediately try to set up the next appointment. If you keep just these 3 things in mind when inviting someone, your chances will increase significantly. To be honest, in the beginning, I couldn't sell products, I couldn't ask for favors. I was involved in overseas business and I started with no job, so I was extremely busy. So then, my sponsor said this to me. He said, even if you can't invest all your time, just skip the monthly success seminar 9 times, but make sure not to miss it 12 times. If you do that, you can run the business. While keeping that promise, what was my own standard? Never go to a seminar alone. That was my goal. You have to make an effort to bring someone with you, no matter who it is. I mean, isn't that the least you should do if you want to earn 100 million a month? If you can't even do that, it won't work. You all need to have your own goals. Decide how many people you want to invite. If you set a goal for yourself and think, I absolutely have to invite at least 1 or 2 people, then you need to increase that number. If you reach out to several people, and even if 1 or 2 don't come, as long as you can achieve your goal, then honestly, it would be a miracle if you didn't succeed at Atomy. Did you all feel deeply moved by the lecture from your group today? Yes. Then you really can succeed. Yes. Because you were impressed by the product. But why do people still struggle to succeed? Why do you think that is? It's because they don't put what they've heard into practice. If you just listen and let it go, that's why it doesn't work. Write it down and try putting it into practice at least once. See if it works or not. It all starts with using a small product and being moved by it. The small inspiration you felt from Atomy today will lead you to success as if it were your destiny. Focus on being moved by more of our products. Don't keep trying to just sell to others. Try selling only to yourself and experience just how much you can be moved by Atomy products. You all felt inspired by seeing these products today, right? If you have that inspiration, you can succeed. You really can succeed. So when I shout product, you shout inspiration. Product. Inspiration. Product. Inspiration. Product. Inspiration. All right? I wish you all success.